Okay, we continue in Hilchos Ribis from Shulchan Aruch HaRav. Again, it's to give us a general orientation of all the types of ribis imaginable, be it midoraisa, be it midrabanan. So we're in Sif Yud Beis. Right, right, right. So everything that we said before, all the stringencies and all the loopholes, the scenario was that the borrower intentionally wants to give additional pleasure on top of the repayment of the loan to the lender because he's so happy that he got the loan, right? That was the scenario. Avo, but also, in addition to that, also let's say like this. The borrower has no intention of actually benefiting the lender, but the lender is going to manipulate and get additional benefits out of the borrower without him intentionally giving the lender these benefits. We're going to call Koshu Banel below Alva, right? Right, I feel I rugby off there Alva Midaito, right? Right. So now, because like this, right? Since he is doing it against the knowledge, and obviously not against the will, but not without the knowledge of the borrower. So it looks like that the lender is taking privileges. He's taking privileges. Hey, I lent him money, I'm taking privileges. Because remember, the prohibition is both on the borrower to give and from the lender to take or to demand. Now, so the lender over here is in effect demanding. He is like, taking executive privileges. Well, I gave him a loan. He owes me. So that's why I'm doing this. Right. So he is now in violation of taking ribis. Right. Of course, this is all talking midrabanan. Right. Right. It looks like, he feels this guy owes me. I'm taking this from him, or I'm going to take this, going to ask him to do me this favor, or, this like, lording it over the loiva, lording it over the borrower, or taking privileges from, the borrower is, so now the lender is in his prohibition, is in violation of his prohibition of asking for ribis or taking ribis, right? So before we get to what he, the leniency they put in the parentheses over here, let's give an example, perhaps. As an example, the borrower left his lawnmower outside of his house. So the lender takes it and uses the lawnmower to mow his lawn, as an example, right? Thinks that, generally the borrower would let people, his friends, his neighbors, take his lawnmower. He won't like make a federal case out of it. He won't be upset about it. But it looks like the lender feels he's got it coming to him because he extended the loan. Okay, so that's an example. Let's say there's certain kalim, certain vessels, that the borrower's a nice guy. If people take it without asking him, he doesn't throw a fit. But even so, that would be all good and well if it wasn't talking about the lender. But if it's the lender, it looks like he's taking privileges because he lent the guy money. He goes, come it comes to me. So and therefore that being the case, right? So that's what he added in the parentheses. But let's say these guys like really bosom buddies. Like, they walk into each other's houses all the time and just take without asking, right? All right, so then, so if they have a track record, that's their relationship, that they take from each other stuff without asking at all. They have a track record of that's how they were before the loan. So as we said already, time and time again, they're allowed to conduct business as usual, life as usual, right? This is talking about that, he knows that the borrower's not a angry type of guy, not a stingy guy, so he'll just take the loan without asking because he knows the guy will not have a fit. But no, that may be mutter under normal circumstances if you're sure you're right that the guy would not mind. But if you have lent him money, it really looks like you're taking privileges with the guy. But as we said, if they have a track record of that's the way they were with each other before the loan, life as it was before the loan continues after the loan. Okay. All right. All right. ואפילו נוס מהלווה מדי תכל משהו בעניין שעשו להלווס ללווה לעשוס לו עשו מלווה לקבל ממנו ואם קיבל ממנו שום תוזנה שעשו לו מדייתו אף על פי שהוא בעניין שמן הדין פוטר ושם בו בתיכו אם לא היה מלווהו עכשיו שהלווה ישם לו שכרו אם בו צץ ירושלים לא צי אבק תחת ידו. So now, let's say, going back to the case, the borrower really wants to do something for the lender. So of course, this is all drabanan, as we said, because it's only Ribis Daraisif was part of the deal, right? But it's here the Lova wants to do something for the lender. Borrower wants to say he really wants to, right? And it fits into the criteria that is prohibited that we mentioned before. Anytime where it fits the criteria that it's prohibited for the lova, the borrower, to do this for the malva, the lender. So now we're going, we were always until now talking from the perspective of the borrower. He may not do this, but now he wants to go and bring to our attention that whenever it is prohibited for the borrower to do this for the lender, it is also prohibited for the lender to accept. The lender can't say, well, I didn't ask for it. He's doing it over. It's between him and God if he did something. No. If it's usher for the lova to, the borrower to give, it is prohibited for the lender to accept. Okay, and now therefore, and that being the case, so let's say, it's the type of thing, it's a small favor that fits the criteria that we mentioned above that should be prohibited. It's a small favor. And it's a type of small favor that, if this would be a favor just between two Jews who have no history of one lending the other money, right? This guy does this guy the favor. The guy who granted the favor can't turn and charge him, right? It's not the type of thing they charge each other for, or if you would even try to charge him, it would not hold up in Beis Din because it's So even a thing like that, right? A type of favor that he wouldn't charge for, people generally don't charge for. In this case, if the lender accepted that favor, he's got to pay the lova if he really wants to be clean in heaven. So let's say it was, to schlep stuff in from, he got a delivery. There's a lot of stuff on his driveway, and good neighbors, not say, let's not make it a case of good neighbors. Let's make it say like the borrower lives on the other side of town because, like we said, stuff that people do for each other all the time, life goes on as usual, as I said many times. But it's going to be something special, like the borrower who lives on the other side of town heard about that this guy got a huge delivery. It's all dumped on his driveway. He's going to drive across town and help him bring the stuff in, right? And which, generally speaking, that's the type of thing good citizens do for each other. It's not some type of thing that you charge for. So now, if the lender, he was frazzled, he didn't realize what was going on, and the borrower, just did me this big favor and schlepped my stuff from the driveway into the house, and it's not something that's expected because he's not a next door neighbor or anything like that. He came in especially from across town. I got to pay him for it. If he wants to be clean in heaven, and that he did not take ribis in any way, shape, or form, he's got to give him something for that service. Right, even though it's the type of thing that Jews do for next door neighbors do for each other all time, and a random passing by citizen would also bring it in and not charge the guy. It's the type of thing people do for free. But nonetheless, this was clearly he wasn't the next door neighbor. He came from across town, helped schlep the things in. So even though it's the type of service, helping a guy schlep in his delivery, it's not the type of thing you charge for. Nonetheless, in this case, clearly a favor done to the malveh. Looks very says that it was because of the loan. Why he's schlepping from across town? The malveh should give him something, so it shouldn't be that he took any benefit from the leva, from the borrower. Right? Let's see. Right, so okay. Another one. Modi Zarbin Reshoka Shumtar Kudavar Moshakot Vima Takal Kahura Shabbat Yoso Bide Yom Beyom Matal Kapethal Shal Ulam. But he ends off the sif by warning us, even though we've said loopholes, right? Always, don't go looking for the loopholes. Looking for loopholes, like putting your head into I want to do a favor for the lender. What can I do that's mutter to do? Right? Let's look for a heter. Right? And of course, vice versa. The lender, okay, this guy owes me a favor. Okay, I can't get favor X, Y, and Z out of him. That's usher. But I could get A, B, and C out of him. Bad approach. Because it's the Yetzer Hara first trying to get you into, he kind of turns the Lashon Chazal on its head. Chazal say, when doing good, open your heart like a pinhole, and Hashem will open up as wide as the corridor in the Beis HaMikdash, right? He's saying over here, the Yetzer Hara kind of works the same way. He wants to get a little pinhole. You found a heter to, get something out of the borrower, or the borrower found a heter to flatter the lender, give him something to, right? It starts with that, and then it just goes worse and worse, and you might fall into doing ribis altogether, real ribis. So it's not a correct orientation to look for heterim to get something out of the borrower, or for the borrower to look for a heterim to find a way to give something to the lender. It's not good. It's not like the Rav, a person who's has difficulty making ends meet, has a shayla of kashrus. Of course, it's the right thing for the Rav to look for a heter, but that's like a Rav trying to save a yid money. This is looking for a term to give a taste of ribis. It's so you should not put your head in that direction. By ribis, stay away from heterim, to either grant favors or to receive favors. Yeah. Okay, Tovasana. All right, so I'm going to talk about. It's not even a tangible favor, but there is a certain benefit. That's what I'm talking. Right. So let me just give you an example. I mean, the classical case of Tovas Hana is where, an example is that a person has to give meiser anyway. He's got to give meiser anyway, whether it's meiser from his crops, in the Eretz Yisrael, whether it's meiser from his money to tzedakah, right? So he has to give it anyway. I'm going to give it to the guy I like. That's called Tovas Hana. And that's Tovas Hana she'ena moment. It's really not. It's not. Because the guy had to give the money anyway. It's not a gift. It's not a gift. The guy had to give this money away anyway. But you're manipulating the circumstances to, curry favor, right? So even though it's not, you can't put a price tag on it necessarily, because it's not money that I really spent to give you a gift, because I had to give this money away anyway. But one hand is washing the other, as they say. That's Tovas Hana. So Fito Shein moment also as well. So now when we have a lender and a borrower, so even this tavas hana she'ena moment, right? This tavas hana that is does not, it cannot be quantified, because you can't say I spent this money as on you as a gift or as a bribe. Can't, because this money I had to give away to tzedakah anyway, and you're an oni anyway. Let's say. So also the lender may not get any tovas hana, some money or something that the borrower had to do anyway for some Jew. He's not allowed to accept it. Not allowed to accept it. Kagon. So he gives his own example. Imam Malve Baal Mulacha. Let's say the Malve, he's a carpenter. He's a carpenter. Faloveno Baal Mulacha. And also Malachto Lasos the Bali Machchem. Like so the Love is not, he can't do his own carpentry. He's not capable of it. Right? So he usually makes it, he doesn't use the example of carpentry. I'm doing it. He's just saying generally, the Malved lender is an artisan of some sort. So I'm giving the example of carpenter, and the borrower, he's not skilled, so he's not a carpenter in our example, right? So he needs a carpenter. Right? And listen, the lender was not the borrower's regular carpenter, prior to this loan. Also, you cannot give it to him like I'm going to give you the business. I need a carpenter anyway. I'm going to give you the business, you lender. May not, right? Right? May not do that. Right now, he makes it sound that again, if he was always his carpenter, right, that's not a problem, right? So continue to give him carpentry, right? Of course, unless you're being devious and you're looking for special carpentry projects that you don't really need just to curry favor with the lender. Okay, that's prohibited. But it's like we said many times throughout everything that we've been learning together, life goes on as usual. So if he always was your carpenter and you have a real need for carpentry, it's not contrived, to find a way to just give him business. All right, so life goes on as usual. But if he wasn't your carpenter before, for example, don't give him carpentry projects now. Don't give carpentry right now, right? Then also go now, and vice versa. Let's say the borrower doesn't know the halacha, and he thinks, okay, I need some carpentry done in my house. Carpentry is just an example. Any type of fine work that the borrower can't do himself. Maybe it's carpentry or plumbing. I just use carpentry as an example, right? So let's say the borrower just is unaware, or he's aware he doesn't care, and he's going to the lender and say, hey, you're a plumber. I've got this plumbing thing that needs addressing, needs fixing. You're a carpenter. I got this carpentry that I need done. So the lender, who, if he should say, that's Ribis. I cannot accept this project from you. Find a different carpenter if it's carpentry. Find a different plumber if it's plumbing. And now, if this is true, it's certainly true in the following case, that let's say a guy who's looking for a job, right, or a teacher that wants more students to teach. And so he's got a gemach, as people do, thank God. Some people have some nicer money set aside, and they want that money to do mitzvahs, right? So they lend out to people who need a loan. So, so a tutor, wants a job. He wants to get the job tutoring this rich guy's kid. Happens to be the rich guy, his funds are tied up. So he needs a quick loan, and this Malamed, from his Meiser money, made a gemach, right? Which is a good thing to do. So the Malamed thinks, hey, I'm going to make a loan to this this balabas that needs a loan, and then he will feel very uncomfortable not taking me as a malamed to tutor his kid, right? Right. So let's say, he says, listen, it has nothing to do with it. I happen to be looking for students to tutor, but now I gave you this loan, because I like you. It's got nothing to do whether you take me or not, right? In by Sochro, if the Balabais, who is the borrower in this case, actually hires this man to tutor his kid, if he hires him for this reason, it is Ribis Gemara. It might even be Ribis Deiraisa, right? That the reason why he's hiring him is because he extended this loan. This is total Ribis. So it makes no difference that, there's a cover story that I'm a gemach. I give loans to first come, first serve. You got lucky. You were first come. This is Ribis Gemara. Definitely also. Right. So now let's explain. When he says it's Ribis Gemara, which mashma even Ribis, it's Ribis Daraisa, is that there's like nod, wink, wink, right? That even though they never said, you're getting this loan because you're taking me to tutor your kid because you need your kid tutored anyway, and it's going to be me because I gave it. So even if it wasn't verbalized, but was kind of understood. Nod, wink, wink. Could be it's also even midaraisa, because even though it wasn't openly baked in, it really looks like that. It was kind of like, so it wasn't said, it was the unspoken word. Okay. But let's say, no one was thinking. Because that's, of course, if people were thinking, it's nod, wink, wink. Okay, of course, you were the first one. You're lucky you got to my gemach first. And, I happen to be looking for a job, tutoring kids. Okay. That's Ribis Gemara. But I feel like but let's say no, it was actually everyone was acting in good faith. No one was thinking, right? The Malamed that is looking for kids to tutor. This Baal Bias comes and says, I hear you have a gemach and my funds are tied up. Let me take a loan. And no one was thinking. It was just like they came in. The Malamed wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to get this kid to tutor, and then the borrower wasn't thinking, I'm going to take this guy to be my kid. So they weren't thinking that. It was just all in good faith. The loan was issued without no strings attached or no implied strings attached, right? Also, but it was done a race, like we learned before. We are very, very stringent about any benefits changing hands while the loan is active, as we've learned, in previous sessions. So that's it. You can't take the guy as your malamed, for your kid, the malamed for your kid, right? The prohibition is on both sides. The guy should not try to get that job of tutoring the kid, and the father of the kid should not hire the man while the loan is active, unless, again, they had a track record that he took him as his kid's tutor already in the past. Whenever the kid was falling behind in his studies, he took him as a tutor. All right, so again, as we said many times, as long as it wasn't stipulated ahead of time as being part of the deal, was not stipulated, right? So life goes on as usual. Now this, the halacha also applies. Let's say, like we said, the lender is actually poor. Listen, he set aside meiser money that he's not allowed to enjoy. He has to give it to tzedakah or do mitzvahs with it. So you can have a case where the guy is poor. He and his personal finances is poor, but his meiser money added up to be a nice gemach. They could issue a loan. And this guy who has all his capital tied up needed the loan, right? So now the lender who's not poor, he just has his capital tied up, wants to give the guy tzedakah because he really is poor. He has a gemach, but he himself in his personal finances is poor. Same prohibition. You're going to have to give your tzedakah to someone else. You have to give your tzedakah to someone else unless, again, like we said, this guy was your beneficiary before the loan. So it's not A. So first of all, not baked into the loan. And you have a track record of him having been your beneficiary beforehand. Life goes on. Right, so now this is going on any favors, even favors that don't cost money, even favors that, I have to give this money, I have to do this for someone anyway. Like a trust has to release a certain amount of charitable funds, otherwise they're going to lose their status as being a charitable trust. All right, so in all cases, you cannot, like as it were, use the circumstances, to all right. So that release it to that guy's charity. I have to give it away anyway, and that guy gave me a loan, and it's proven on both parties, unless, like we said, there's a track record of that's how they were with each other prior to the loan. All right. All right, another example. So let's say the borrower is a man that works hard for a living, right? And that's his living. He does stuff. He does odd jobs, and he charges. That's what he makes. Right. But he gives discounts. So again, there's no problem to pay a man his fair wages, right? The Malva and Lova could do business with each other in a way everyone's paying a fair price, fair and normal price for the services rendered, right? But let's say the Lova now, the Lova himself is a carpenter, and the Malva needs carpentry, and the Lova is giving the borrower is giving the Malva, the lender, discounts because of the loan. Or to earn getting an extension loan, raise the Ribis Sheltaris. Now, if he does it for the purpose of actually getting an extension, that Ribis Sheltar, that's mamish, that's Ribis, even though he didn't actually give him anything, he just discounted his wages. He discounted the bill. He gave a discount. That discount is Ribis Darais. But let's say, the guy already. Right, the guy already extended the loan. Gave him the extension that he wanted, and now he's giving a discount because he's grateful. It wasn't to get the extension. If it's to get the extension, it's Ribis Daraisa, because that's baked into the deal. Hey, you understand? You're getting a discount. Nod, wink, wink. By the way, can you extend the loan? Okay, that's like baked in. That's Ribis Daraisa. But let's say the lender already extended the loan. He already extended the loan. The borrower got the extension he wanted. He just feels gratitude, but it's gratitude. It wasn't baked in, so it's still usher. It's Ribis D'Rabbanan. It's still usher. It's Ribis D'Rabbanan. Okay, we will stop here. All right, everyone, have a wonderful Shabbos, as we are recording this on an Erev Shabbos.